All right, hi, welcome. Here's your HMH lesson for today. That's your math work for next week. Anyway, let's go over some important vocabulary words before we read the story. We're going to be focusing on the story Molly by Golly, the legend of Molly Williams, America's first female fighter. While we are reading the story, we are focusing on central idea. Central idea is the most important point or topic of the story. So central idea is the same as main idea. What the story is mostly about. Very good. The person or thing the topic is about. Supporting evidence are details, facts, or examples in the story that tell us about the central idea. Okay? All right, let's go over those vocabulary words before we start. Briskly. Here the girls are walking briskly, or they're hiking briskly. Briskly is if you do something quickly and with energy. They're quickly and with energy hiking. Here, aching. The man looks like he's aching from his back pain. That looks like me. Aching. When you are aching, your body feels sore. Ouch, my back feels sore. You're aching. Lend. The girl is lending the old woman a hand. When you lend a hand, you help someone. Gripped. The kids gripped onto the monkey bars as they were trying to go by on the playground. They gripped the bars in the playground. If you grip something, you held it tightly. All right? Okay, frigid. Ooh, this is like last week. Something that is frigid is very, 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 very cold. Look, he looks like he's freezing out there. Gushed. Gushed. Water gushed out of the fire hydrant. If liquid gushed, it poured out of something quickly and with force. Very fast and with force. The water gushed out of the fire hydrant. These are the things that you see sometimes on the side of the street. This is if there was a fire or emergency, the firefighters hook up their hose to the fire hydrant, which lets out a lot of water. It gushes out water. All right. Secret. Ooh, this is some stuff that some kids do that I don't like. Secret. When you tell somebody a secret, when something is a secret, very few people know about it. Okay, not a lot of people know about it. Leah told her friend a secret idea. Okay, we're going to stop there. Let's read. Molly by Golly. I know.
Our Molly is as fine a cook as any in New York City, the lads of Fire Company Number 11 like to boast. In fact, she's wondrous fine. Molly's hasty pudding is tastiest, the captain always said. No, sir, Isaac would declare. It's her chicken roly-poly makes a man's mouth water. Hot apple tansy is Molly's most delicious dish, Jonas was sure to insist. The argument would go around the fire company's table until the very last bite of venison stew or codfish muddle had disappeared.
You guys know
but on one thing the men agreed.
Sorry, you guys know what venison stew is? That's deer meat. It's a soup made with deer meat.
Molly by Golly put hands and heart to every task, in or out of the kitchen. One wintry day, she proved just how wondrous fine she could be.
But she was cooking for these men, and who were these men? They were the fire department, right? The firefighters, the fire hydrant.
Inside the cozy kitchen of Mr. Amar's house, Molly Williams briskly whisked cornmeal, eggs, and buttermilk in an earthenware bowl. Outside, snowflakes swirled thick as cream. Snowdrifts stood tall as haystacks. Molly stirred glowing embers in the hearth oven and worried. As the Johnny cakes baked, A fierce wind knocked at the door and whistled through chinks in the red brick walls. Molly worried more. Snow covered the neighborhood that morning, and a terrible sickness had spread like a thick blanket over scores of households. Influenza. Many of the volunteer firefighters were already sick. Even Mr. Amar lay abed with it.
Why is she worried? What is she worried about? Dominic? Very good, because with the cold weather, a lot of people are getting sick. And back then, a long time ago, when people would get sick, was there like a CVS or a Walgreens they can go to and get medicine? No, there wasn't. And if there was some kind of drugstore, there wasn't a lot of research back then, and a lot of people used to die from the flu. They never had a flu vaccine. Now we take a flu vaccine to protect ourselves from it, right? So she was worried. And a lot of the firefighters were sick too, and the volunteer firefighters taking their spot were also sick. So what would happen in case of an emergency? I don't know. It makes her worried. Okay, let's keep reading.
Molly scratched the upturned chin of Eliza, one of her many household cats, and wondered aloud. If a blaze sparks in a blizzard such as this, what will our poor fire lamps do? Molly recognized a sound growing louder above the whine of the snowstorm. Had her worry about fire come true? Church bells clang, clang, clanged. They sang out a fire alarm. The number of times they chimed told Molly just where the trouble was. "Something's afire, Eliza, and it's nearby," she exclaimed. Molly wrapped a heavy woolen shawl around her shoulders and dashed out to spread the news.
What happened? There was a fire nearby. How does Molly know that there was a fire nearby? Good, and she heard the fire alarm, and she's looking out the window. She could see it.
Molly spied a small knot of neighborhood boys speeding toward her with lanterns held high. Runners! Molly, by golly, led them through snow-filled alleyways and icy cobblestone streets. The runners rattled clackers and rang muffin bells. "Fire!" they all cried. "Come out! Come out!"
Why are they saying, "Come out, come out"?
Because there's a fire.
There's a fire. They need help.
Men burst from their homes with bootstraps flapping and coattails flying. Women and children tossed out leather water buckets. Molly and the runners scooped them up as they raced to the fire company's equipment shed. Volunteers busily loaded axes, pull-down hooks, and coils of rope into the fire wagon. Molly took a quick count. She'd never seen so few men answer a call. The captain lifted the buckets from her aching arms. "Molly, by golly," he said, "you're always ready to lend a hand." These hands can do much more than bake Johnny cakes, she thought. She clapped a weathered leather helmet on her head, strapped spatterdashes over her woolen leggings, and pulled on heavy work gloves. "Wait for me," she cried. "Molly, by golly," exclaimed the surprised captain. He waved her over to the line of men struggling to drag the heavy pumper engine into the snowy street. Molly took her place on the rope and gripped it hard. "All heave-ho, lads and lady," the captain ordered. "Get this pumper on its way. 1, 2, 3, pull," they chanted. Molly and the men rolled the pumper engine straight away into the street.
Looks like Molly's going to help take out the fire.
They dragged it through swiftly drifting snow. Wintry wind whipped at Molly's face and hands, but she never lost her grip. Soon Molly saw ribbons of soot twirling between snowflakes. She heard frightened voices floating through the frozen air. Then there it was, a small wooden house ablaze.
See? There, that answers your question. Look at the fire ablaze in the small wooden house.
"Step lively now," cried the captain through his 10-speakers trumpet. "Fire wagon and pumper to the side yard. Volunteers and buckets to the river." Close to the snowy bank, the captain chopped holes in thick ice. Jonas and Isaac dropped buckets into the frigid water flowing below. Molly and the others formed a bucket brigade, passing water hand to hand, filling the tank fast. "Start pumping, and be quick about it," the captain shouted.
Why does the captain chop holes in the thick ice? Good, so they can get water from under the ice.
Molly jumped to join the men at the pumper engine's sides. They cranked the heavy, long pump handles until water gushed in a steady stream from the fire hose. Hour after hour, Molly sprayed burning timber. Angry flames hissed and spit each time water hit them. Molly pulled down chunks of burning roof with a hooked iron rod. Flaming shingles melted the snow the moment they hit the ground. Choking smoke crept into Molly's nose. Cinders clung to her woolen shawl. A wall of heat warmed her cheeks. "My fire lads won't let this fire win, and neither will I," she thought. The fire raged and roared with the fury of a wild bobcat, until at last it was out. The Van Horn family shivered in their snowy yard. A haze of smoke surrounded them. They were thankful to be alive, glad the fire had not spread throughout the neighborhood. Bone-tired, Molly took her place on the drag rope to pull the pumper back to the shed. Jonas, Isaac, and the other volunteers rushed to her side, broad smiles on their soot-covered faces. "Hooray for our new company volunteer," they cheered. "Molly, by golly, you're as fine a fire lad as any," added the captain. "In fact, you're wondrous fine."
What does it mean to say soot-covered faces? What is soot? No, not soup. Soot. Leia? What is soot? It says they're soot-covered faces. Soot is the ashes from a fire, right? When you burn wood and it cools down, it becomes what? Soot. It becomes ashes, like that dark black stuff that's in the fireplace, right? Yeah, so why do you guys think their faces were full of soot here? Because they were putting out the fire, and that's the ashes from the fire getting on them, or the soot. All right, that's nice. That's a nice story. Okay, let's talk about it real fast. What is the main idea or subject or the topic of the story? What's the topic? Anyone? Anyone? Yes. What is the story about? Good. It's about Molly and how she became a firefighter, or she helped put out a fire, right, in the time of need. And why weren't there firefighters, Haney? Why were there not any firefighters available? Rena? They were sick. They had the influenza, right? They were sick. There weren't many firefighters available at that time. All right, very good. Let's see. Why does the captain tell Molly she's as fine as a fire lad as any? Because she helped take out the fire. He's basically telling her you're just as good as a professional firefighter, right? Very good. Okay. That's it. That's all we're going to do today. I just wanted to read the story and talk about it a little bit. If you have any questions, let me know. You don't have to write anything down or do anything. I just wanted you to listen to the story. I'll see you later. Bye.